I read Wikipedia featured article. Phantasmagoria video game. Phantasmagoria is a point-and-click adventure horror video game designed by Roberta Williams for MS-DOS and Microsoft Windows and released by Sierra Online on August 24th, 1995. It tells the story of Adrienne Delaney, Victoria Marcel, a writer who moves into a remote mansion and finds herself terrorized by supernatural forces. It was made at the peak of popularity for interactive movie games and features live-action actors and footage, both during cinematic scenes and within the three-dimensionally rendered environments for the game itself. It was noted for its violence and sexual content. Williams had long planned to design a horror game, but she waited 8 years for software technology to improve before doing so. More than 200 people were involved in making Phantasmagoria, which was based on Williams' 550-page script, about 4 times the length of an average Hollywood screenplay. It took more than 2 years to develop and 4 months to film. The game was originally budgeted for US $800,000, but it ultimately cost $4.5 million to develop, and it was filmed in a $1.5 million studio that Sierra built specifically for the game. The game was directed by Peter Morris and features a cast of 25 actors, all performing in front of a blue screen. Most games at the time featured 80 to 100 backgrounds, while Phantasmagoria includes more than 1,000. A professional Hollywood special effects house worked on the game, and the musical score includes a Neo-Gregorian chant performed by a 135 voice choir. Sierra stressed that it was intended for adult audiences, and the company willingly submitted to a rating system and included a password protector censoring option within the game to tone down the graphic content. Phantasmagoria was released on 7 discs after multiple delays, but it was a financial success, grossing $12 million at its opening weekend and becoming one of the best-selling games of 1995. Sierra strongly promoted the game. It received mixed reviews, earning praise for its graphics and suspenseful tone, while being criticized for its slow pacing and easy puzzles. The game also drew controversy, particularly due to a rape scene. CompUSA and other retailers declined to carry it. Religious organizations and politicians condemned it, and it was refused classification altogether in Australia. The sequel, Phantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh, was released in 1996, although Williams was not involved. See, motherfucker doing too much. What are you raping a video game for? I don't remember CompUSA. Okay, this is the plot. Successful mystery novelist Adrienne Delaney, Victoria Marcel, and her photographer husband, Don Gordon, David Home, have just purchased a remote mansion off the coast of a small New England island previously owned by a famous 19th century magician, Zoltan Karnovash, whose 5 wives all died mysteriously. Adrienne hopes to find an inspiration for her next novel in her new home, but starts having nightmares immediately upon moving in. She is comforted by the loving and supportive Don. Adrienne explores the estate, making mysterious discoveries like strange music, warnings written on her computer, and ominous messages from a fortune teller automation. Unbeknownst to the happy couple, Carno had practiced black magic when he previously lived in the mansion and had summoned an evil demon that possessed him and caused him to murder his wives. During her explorations of the grounds, Adrienne finds a secret chapel hidden behind a bricked-off fireplace. After opening a locked box atop an altar, Adrienne unknowingly releases Carno's demon, which promptly possesses Don. See, pause. Why are you opening up stuff? First of all, nobody told you to be looking behind fireplaces. And nobody told you to be opening up locked boxes on top of altars. Again, too much. Back to the plot. Don starts acting menacingly and aggressively towards Adrian and becomes progressively worse as time passes, culminating in a controversial scene in which he rapes Adrian. Eventually, Adrian meets Harriet Hockaday, a superstitious vagrant, and her strong but dim-witted son, Cyrus, who are secretly living in a barn on the estate. How you secretly live in some... Never mind. After Adrian agrees to let them stay, they volunteer to help around the mansion. See, y'all doing too much. We got vagrants, and then you'll have them stay, you'll have them help, and you have a demon-possessed husband, and you got altars behind fireplaces. Something just don't sound right. Sounds like y'all need to move. Back to the plot. When a technician named Mike visits the mansion to install the phone, Don screams at him in a jealous rage, warning him to stay away from his wife, much to Adrian's horror. Later, unbeknownst to Adrian, Don bludgeons Mike to death. While the local townspeople believe all Carnal's wives died of natural causes or accidentally, Adrian learns through a series of visions that he murdered them in grotesque ways. Hortensia, who avoided Zoltan's abuse by secluding herself in her greenhouse, is stabbed with gardening tools and suffocated with mulch. Then how the hell did she avoid his abuse when she got stabbed and suffocated? Victoria, an alcoholic, is killed when Zoltan impales her eye with a wand bottle during an argument. Well, that was extra. And an overly talkative third wife, Lenora, has her mouth gagged and her neck contorted in a torture device. Finally, the food-loving Regina is force-fed animal entrails through a funnel until she chokes to death. Harriet performs a seance for Adrian, revealing in the form of a green ectoplasm the spirit of Carnal before he had been possessed. He reveals that the previously contained evil spirit has been released and urges Adrian to trap it once again. Adrian visits the nearly 110-year-old Malcolm Wormshadow, who had been Carnal's apprentice as a young boy. Malcolm reveals that Carnal met his demise after his last wife, Marie, discovered he was a murderer. Marie conspired with her lover, Gaston, to kill Carnal by sabotaging the equipment for his most infamous and dangerous escapology trick, in which Carnal dons a burning hood and escapes from bonds on a throne underneath a swinging axe. The sabotage leaves Carnal horribly burned and disfigured, but he survives and viciously attacks Marie and Gaston. After killing Marie by beheading her, Carnal is killed by Gaston, who then succumbs to his own wounds. Malcolm tells Adrian about the ritual that can eradicate the demon. Harriet, fearing for her safety, you just not fearing for your safety? Decides to leave with Cyrus as Don becomes more abusive and erratic. The next day, Adrian is attacked by Don, who is now completely insane and dressed like Carnal. Adrian scars Don's face with acid from his darkroom and then flees, discovering the corpses of Mike, Harriet, and Cyrus hidden throughout the mansion. Don captures Adrian and straps her to the throne, but she distracts him long enough to free herself and trigger the swinging axe, which impales and kills Don. His death unleashes the demon, a huge murderous monster that pursues Adrian through the mansion. She escapes long enough to perform a ritual that traps the demon once again. The game ends with Adrian walking out of the mansion with a vacant stare, almost catatonic. See, how the hell is this a video game? What the hell? What is this? That's too much. This ain't for me. Anyway, this is I Read Wikipedia. Featured articles.